everyone, my name is Nailea with Do Money. I'm a finance professional and a tax preparer. I'm also a mom of a beautiful, intelligent young boy with autism. And today, I am going to tell you how I understood my health insurance, how I learned to read my EOB or explanation of benefits, and then how I keep track of all of my son's medical expenses to make sure that all of those bills are correct. So how much does autism therapy cost? In my specific case, my son goes to ABA or Applied Behavioral Analysis Therapy 25 hours a week. He goes to occupational therapy as well as speech therapy. So in this video, I'll go over all of the costs, what the explanation of benefits look like, and how to read the explanation of benefits. So a little backstory, my son was 2.5 when he got diagnosed with autism. He had about 5 words in his vocabulary, and we realized he really wasn't where he needed to be in his vocabulary, even though physically he was very much advanced, running, jumping, doing everything he had to do. So with the help of a developmental pediatrician, we did get our diagnosis. He was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder and with mixed receptive expressive language disorder. So we immediately started occupational and speech therapy once we started to find out that he really wasn't where he needed to be before getting the diagnosis. So we started that about the middle of the year. Once we got the diagnosis, we were able to find an amazing ABA school. I live in a very large metropolitan area, so we had a lot of choices. I went and interviewed many schools. I called, I did walkthroughs, and finally found something that really fit for us. Once I realized how much all of this was going to cost us, I really freaked out. I really needed to understand how much we were going to pay out of pocket, and I needed a budget. So the first step was to understand that we needed to make sure we got all of our providers in network. It could be incredibly expensive to get providers out of network. So make sure that everywhere that you call, ask first, do they accept your insurance, and then make sure they're in your network. So the first hurdle is to get through your deductible. I'm going to be showing you an EOB here at the beginning of the year. It's important to understand that at the beginning of the year, you're paying all of your medical expenses up until you're done with your deductible. Then you go into a period of coinsurance where you and your provider are paying or splitting the costs. Sometimes $15.85, 80-20, whatever the split might be. And then by the end, if you've met your out-of-pocket maximum, then your insurance provider is covering all of your bills. With something like autism, as you may find out soon or you already know, it costs a lot of money and you're very likely to meet your out-of-pocket maximum. Okay, so if you look at this first EOB, you can see that it's for the first week of January in 2022. The amount billed for that week was a whopping $5,440. Obviously, something no one can just pay. At the beginning of the year, like it shows, you're paying most of the cost. So the amount allowed column shows how much the insurance it's okay to bill you. So after that, then you look at the copay. Some plans have a copay, others do not. In my case, I did not, so there's $0 there. So what I have to meet is my deductible, and our son's deductible was like $3,370 or so. So the deductible, obviously, you can see the total is $2,096. That does not get to our $3,000 yet, so we have to pay that entire amount of $2,096 out of pocket. So what your plan paid, $0, like we just said. It's the beginning of the year. We have to get to our limit before coinsurance will kick in and our insurance will help pay for medical expenses. Coinsurance is the next column, $0, because of what we just said. Next, we go into the second week of January of 2022. As you can see, ABA therapy, and this is just for ABA therapy. At least in my area, it's very expensive. So the amount billed for that second week was $4,400. Okay, the negotiated discount was $2,700, and the amount allowed to be billed to me is $1,700 in this fourth column. Again, no copay, but as you can see, the deductible, we are getting to our deductible already in that second week of the year, which is pretty fascinating to see how expensive these therapies are. And so we now owe $694.32, which is the total of that column, but we have now met our deductible. So that $3,000 something dollars, we have met it, and now we're going to go into the coinsurance phase. There is between the deductible and the out-of-pocket maximum in the coinsurance phase, there is a maximum that you're going to pay. In my case, it's about $3,500, let's say. And what's going to happen here is that my plan that I chose is going to pay 85% of that bill, and I'm going to pay 15% of it up until I get to that $3,700. So this is where now I will still be getting a bill from the ABA school, but my bill is going to be a little bit smaller until I get to that out-of-pocket maximum, at which point the insurance will start to cover the rest of ABA therapy and his speech and occupational and everything. The speech and OT is happening on the side, and it's about $45 a session or something like that, and that is also eating into these totals. But this is the real big part of it, so that's why I'm using this as an example. So as you can see here, on the 13th, on the 13th, there are two line items. Why are there two line items? One, the $800 is for the actual therapy session of 5 hours. And then the $480 is because my son in ABA therapy, you usually have a board certified behavior analyst or a BCBA, and they will spend time with your child. They're the ones that create the curriculum and evaluate them and push them forward and everything. So those hours are also billed to the insurance. So you can see I have two line items for January 13th. So, and they billed $480. So those two line items, you can see that on the first line item, I have now met my deductible and I jump into coinsurance. So I pay 15% and the insurance pays 85%. So on the coinsurance column, I now owe that $150.85 total for the 13th and the 14th of January. On top of the $694.32 that were part of the deductible bucket. Okay, and here we are in the third week of the year, and we have met our deductible completely, and we are 100% in the coinsurance phase. So as you can see, the amount billed was $5,440, the discount was $3,344, and the amount allowed to be billed to me is $2,096. So what did my plan pay? My plan paid 85% of the amount allowed to me, which is $1,781.60. And what did I have to pay? I had to pay 15% of that amount allowed to me, which totaled $314.40. So now, if you can imagine, let's just say that's the amount that we're going to pay for the next couple of weeks, $314 thereabouts, until we get to that $3,000. So it'll be now a few months until we have met our out-of-pocket maximum. All right, so how do you keep track of all of this? It feels very overwhelming. What I do personally is I keep a calendar, either a wall calendar, or I have a personal budget or a spreadsheet, and I'll show you what my spreadsheet looks like. But you don't have to use a spreadsheet. You can just use this in a plain notebook on your wall calendar. All you have to do is keep track of when your child goes to these therapies. So if your child goes to therapy Monday through Friday, just note that if there was a holiday, if they were sick and they didn't go for 3 days, just mark it on the calendar, no school, no school, no school, so that then you can look at your EOB and you can match those days up with how much you're getting billed. It's really important to also consider the time that your BCBA is spending with your child. That's also being billed in case you have any confusion there. Another part that gets billed in your insurance, to your insurance, is those parenting classes. Most ABA schools will also offer, or you're committed to taking ABA classes, and I don't regret that one bit. Those are the best classes. My husband and I have gotten so much out of it and have been able to help my son extensively. So it's great, but you also have to keep in mind that that's going to be a separate line item on your EOB. Why is it so important to keep track of all of this? It's just like going into your checking account and making sure that all of the transactions are ones that you made. It's really important to understand that while your ABA school might be really good at ABA, there is a payroll or an accounting or a department in charge of this billing, and there might be some miscommunication. There might not always have exactly what they need to on the bill. As an autism mom, I have learned that we are the best advocates for our kids. We are the best advocates for ourselves, and it starts with making sure that we have all the funds that we need in our pocket to give them what they need and they deserve. I want to empower all of you parents who have children with autism. It can be very overwhelming, and this is one small part of the equation, but has a big impact in all of our lives. If you have any questions, please comment down below, like the video, and I hope to see you here again.